You bought your Model 3 2 years ago. You've been careful. You charge to 80%. You avoid supercharging when you can. You do everything the forums told you to do. And yet you're staring at a range display that's dropped nearly 50 miles since you drove it off the lot. You call the service center. They quote you $14,500 for a battery replacement. You almost say yes. Here's what actually happened. Your battery was fine, perfectly healthy. What you were looking at wasn't degradation. It was a miscalibrated battery management system, giving you a ghost reading after months of charging in the same narrow window. One evening, one procedure, and you recover those 50 miles overnight. No parts, no labor, no $14,500. That story isn't hypothetical. It happens to Tesla owners every single week, and it points to a deeper problem. Most of what you've been told about protecting your Tesla battery is either incomplete, outdated, or flat out wrong. I'm going to give you 10 things you can start doing today, built on 2026 research, real owner data, and the actual electrochemistry, that will change how you think about battery ownership. Not just tips, a complete system. Quick but important note before we dive in. High voltage systems are dangerous. Do not open your coolant reservoir. Do not open the battery casing. And do not attempt any electrical work beyond what's described in your owner's manual. Everything in this video is for educational purposes, based on the 2026 Tesla Service Manual and current battery research. When in doubt, visit a certified Tesla service center. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. Recalibrate your battery management system. Your Tesla doesn't directly measure how much energy is left in the pack, the way a fuel gauge measures liquid. The battery management system, the BMS, estimates remaining capacity by sampling cell voltages at different states of charge. Over time, it builds a model. But here's the catch. That model is only as good as the data going into it. If you've been charging to 80% every night and rarely dropping below 40%, the BMS has spent months, maybe years, working with data from a narrow 40-point window. It never sees what the pack looks like near full. It never sees what it looks like near empty. Its estimates start drifting, and that drift shows up on your screen as phantom range loss. The science. At the cell level, voltage is not a perfectly linear proxy for state of charge. The voltage curve has flat regions, areas where a large change in stored energy corresponds to a tiny change in voltage. If the BMS has never sampled those regions recently, it's essentially extrapolating from incomplete data. This is sometimes called BMS drift, and it has nothing to do with actual lithium loss or SEI layer growth. It's a software estimation problem with a hardware solution. The 2026 solution. Tesla's 2025 software introduced a formalized battery health test, accessible via Controls La Service, Maintenance Summary, Battery Health Test. To run it correctly in 2026, bring your state of charge below 20% before initiating the test. The system will not start above this threshold. Connect to a level 2 charger, not a supercharger. The test requires controlled AC charging to take accurate voltage readings at both ends of the curve. The full diagnostic takes approximately 24 hours. Do not interrupt it. The BMS is doing two things simultaneously: collecting clean voltage samples across the full range, and running passive cell balancing at the top of the charge, a process that only activates when the pack sits at or near 100%. At completion, you receive an official state of health percentage, logged with a timestamp you can reference year over year. For a manual recalibration without the formal test, drive the pack down to single digits, leave the car unplugged for 1 hour with Sentry Mode off, then charge to 100% on level 2, and leave it plugged in for 2 additional hours after the display reads full. This gives the BMS time to complete passive balancing. One owner with 217,000 miles on his odometer ran this test and came back with 88.5% state of health. That's exceptional, and it confirms that the right habits across a high-mileage life genuinely compound. Chapter 2. The 70% Rule. Why 80% is no longer the answer. For years, charge to 80% was the gold standard advice in the Tesla community. It's still better than charging to 100% every night. But according to the most current battery research, 80% isn't conservative enough for daily use on NMC, nickel-manganese-cobalt chemistry, which is what most Model 3, Model Y, and Model SX packs use. The science. Jeff Dahn runs the battery research partnership that Tesla funds at Dalhousie University. His 2025 findings identified what he calls the Goldilocks zone for NMC cells, approximately 70% state of charge, corresponding to a cell voltage of around 3.92 volts. Here's why the voltage number matters so much. At 80%, your cells sit at approximately 4.0 volts. That half-tenth of a volt difference doesn't sound significant, but in electrochemistry, it's enormous. Every 0.1 volt increase in cell voltage roughly doubles the rate of calendar aging. Calendar aging is the degradation that happens simply from time passing while the battery sits at an elevated state of charge. It's driven by SEI layer growth, the solid electrolyte interface, a film that forms on the graphite anode as the electrolyte slowly reacts with it. Higher voltage accelerates this reaction. It never stops. It just slows down dramatically at lower voltages. At 70%, you're operating meaningfully below the steep part of that aging curve. You're giving up roughly 20 miles of daily range, but you're cutting the dominant form of battery wear, not cycling wear from driving, but calendar aging from sitting, by a measurable amount. 2026 nuance for LFP owners. If you have a standard range Model 3 built after late 2021, or certain Model Y variants, you may have a lithium iron phosphate pack. The 70% rule doesn't apply the same way. LFP chemistry has a fundamentally flatter voltage curve and tolerates higher states of charge better than NMC. Tesla's official recommendation for LFP is to charge to 80% daily and to 100% once a week for calibration. Even Dahn's most recent research suggests LFP cells still age faster at higher average charge levels than lower, but the difference is smaller, and the calibration requirement is real. For everyone else, set your daily limit to 70% and schedule a full charge to 100% every 2 to 3 months. That quarterly full charge is not optional. It's the only time passive cell balancing runs, and without it, individual cells drift apart in capacity, which accelerates degradation unevenly across your pack. Chapter 3. Scheduled departure. Set it up correctly or don't bother. You've done everything right. You've set your charge limit to 70%. You plug in at 7 p.m. By 9 p.m., the car is done charging, and then it sits at 70% for the next 10 hours while you sleep. All that calendar aging, ticking away. You tried to protect the battery, but the way you're charging is quietly defeating the purpose. The science. Time at elevated state of charge is cumulative. Every hour your pack spends near its charge limit is an hour of SEI layer growth. If you could instead time the charge to finish right before you leave, you'd eliminate those 10 hours of elevated storage, potentially thousands of hours per year across your ownership life. The 2026 solution, Tesla's scheduled departure feature, does exactly this, but almost everyone configures it incorrectly. Here's the precise setup. Navigate to Charging Schedule, Scheduled Departure. Set your departure time. The car calculates backward from that window to determine when to start charging. Critical step. Enable the off-peak charging toggle. Without this enabled, the car ignores the schedule entirely and begins charging the moment you plug in. This single setting is where most people lose the benefit. Do not confuse scheduled departure with scheduled charging. Scheduled charging sets a start time. Scheduled departure sets a completion time. They sound similar. They do completely different things. Bonus. The winter thermal benefit. When your battery finishes charging right before departure, it arrives warm from the charging process. In cold climates, this means you skip the energy cost of cold preconditioning, and more importantly, you avoid lithium plating during those first cold miles, which we'll cover in depth shortly. This is free thermal protection built into a scheduling setting. Chapter 4. Sentry Mode 2.0 and the Vampire Drain Audit. Most Tesla owners have Sentry Mode on, all the time, everywhere. It feels responsible. It's also quietly one of the most battery-damaging habits you can have, and the math when you run it properly is genuinely shocking. The science in 2026 data. The 2024.38 firmware architecture update, sometimes called Sentry Mode 2.0, introduced improved processing efficiency that cut idle power draw by approximately 40% from roughly 200 watts down to around 120 watts. That's meaningful progress, but even at 120 watts continuous, the numbers are significant. They're 0.30 24 hours, 2.88 kWh per day. On a 75 kWh pack, that's roughly 14 extra full charge cycles per month, not from driving, from your cameras watching your driveway. Compare that to 12,000 miles of annual driving, which adds approximately 48 drive cycles per year. Even with the 2.0 efficiency improvement, Sentry Mode adds the equivalent of roughly 30 lost miles of range per day in phantom cycling. That's not a rounding error, that's your commute. And Sentry is only one piece of the vampire drain picture. Cabin overheat protection, summon standby, third-party app polling, and the Tesla app itself all add up. One owner documented the Tesla app waking his car for nearly 11 minutes every time he opened it to check the charge level. The 2026 strategy. Be surgical about this, not reactive. You don't need to disable Sentry everywhere. You need to disable it intelligently. Controls, safety, Sentry Mode, exclude specific locations. Add your home address and your workplace. Sentry will disable automatically when you're in those places, and re-enable when you leave. Disable cabin overheat protection when the car is garaged. There's no risk profile that justifies running it in a temperature-controlled space. Summon standby. Navigate to Controls, Autopilot, Summon standby mode, and turn it off unless you're actively using full self-driving features. It defaults to on. Most owners don't realize it. Set third-party apps like Teslafy or Tessie to respect sleep windows. The best implementations log a quick data point and immediately allow the car to sleep, adding zero meaningful drain. After locking down all these settings, one owner documented just 1% state of charge loss over 12 days of airport parking. That's what strategic drain management looks like. If you're getting value out of this, hit subscribe. We publish deep dive Tesla maintenance content every week, specifically focused on protecting your investment with real data, not forum speculation. Now let's finish strong. Chapter 5. Heat is the silent killer. Stay plugged in. If you live in a warm climate and you're parking unplugged in the heat, you are doing more damage to your battery than almost anything else on this list, and you're probably not even aware of it. The science. The Arrhenius equation governs chemical reaction rates across temperature, and it applies directly to battery degradation. For lithium-ion cells, every 10 Crofts increase above 25 Crofts approximately doubles the rate of calendar aging. That's not an estimate. That is how the chemistry behaves. Real-world data from Recurrent Auto, aggregating across tens of thousands of Teslas, confirms it. Vehicles in Arizona and Texas averaged a range health score of 92, compared to 95 in cooler northern states. 3 percentage points doesn't sound catastrophic, but that gap grows every year, and the damage is not recoverable. What your car can do if you let it. Here's what most owners in warm climates don't know. Your Tesla's thermal management system behaves very differently depending on whether it's plugged in or not. Unplugged, the cooling system won't actively run until the battery reaches approximately 45 Turnight, because drawing from the pack to cool the pack is a losing trade. Plugged in, the system runs the cooling loop preemptively, drawing from grid power, keeping the battery in its optimal thermal window without touching the pack's stored energy. If you're in Phoenix, Dallas, Houston, or anywhere that sees triple-digit temperatures, that is free thermal protection you forfeit every time you park unplugged in direct sun. The worst combination for any lithium-ion pack is elevated state of charge plus elevated temperature. A car sitting at 90% in Arizona sun and a car sitting at 60% in a shaded garage are on dramatically different degradation curves. One Phoenix Model 3 owner who consistently garaged and stayed plugged in reported only 7% range loss after 5 years, in one of the harshest thermal environments for a battery in the country. Chapter 6. Stop worrying about supercharging. Worry about cold charging. There is no more persistent myth in the Tesla community than supercharging ruins your battery. People rearrange road trips, add hours to their drives, and pay for hotel chargers to avoid superchargers, based on a claim the data simply does not support. What the data actually shows, Recurrent Auto's analysis of over 13,000 Tesla vehicles found no meaningful difference in degradation rates between cars that supercharge more than 90% of the time versus those that supercharge less than 10% of the time. Tesla's own 2023 impact report documents an average of 12% capacity loss after 200,000 miles, regardless of how owners charged. Modern Teslas actively manage supercharger current based on battery temperature and state of charge. When a healthy warm battery hits a V3 supercharger, the charge rate is controlled by the BMS in real time. Thermal stress is managed. The fear is disproportionate to the actual risk. What you should actually worry about. Lithium plating. Cold charging is the legitimate threat that the supercharging panic has crowded out of the conversation. Below approximately 10-15 Garc C, the intercalation process, where lithium ions settle into the graphite anode during charging, slows significantly. When the charge rate exceeds what the cold anode can absorb, lithium ions instead deposit on the anode surface as metallic lithium. This is called lithium plating, and it is permanent, irreversible physical damage to the cell. No software update fixes it. No recalibration recovers it. The capacity is gone. The 2026 prevention protocol. Always navigate to your supercharger destination in Tesla's native navigation before you leave. This triggers automatic battery preconditioning. The thermal system warms the pack during transit, so you arrive within the optimal charging temperature window. If you're doing level 2 home charging in sub-freezing temperatures, use scheduled departure so the car warms the battery during the charge rather than starting cold. Here's the counterintuitive insight. If you're forced to choose between supercharging a warm battery and level 2 charging a battery that's been sitting at 5 Degradation for 8 hours, the supercharger, which injects heat into the system through resistance, may actually be gentler on your cells than the slow cold level 2 charge. Chapter 7. Tire pressure is a battery protection tool. This one gets dismissed as basic car maintenance and therefore not interesting enough to take seriously. That's a mistake, because the numbers are significant when you run them over time. The science. Rolling resistance increases directly as tire pressure decreases. The measured relationship for Tesla tires is approximately 1% range change per PSI of pressure. If your tires are 4 PSI low, which is common, because tires lose roughly 1 PSI for every 10 ver airway temperature up in ambient temperature, you're running at approximately 4% reduced efficiency on every single drive. This matters for the battery, because reduced efficiency means more energy extracted per mile, which means more cycling, which means more cumulative battery wear. Over 100,000 miles, chronically low tire pressure can translate to thousands of unnecessary additional cycling miles absorbed by your pack. You're not burning the battery faster by chemistry, you're accelerating its calendar by requiring more cycles to cover the same distance. The 2026 habit. Set your tires to 42 to 45 PSI. Check your door jamb for the specific recommendation for your trim and load, and verify them monthly cold before driving. This check takes 2 minutes. The compounding benefit across an ownership lifetime is real. Chapter 8. The coolant question. Tesla removed from the manual. Before 2018, Tesla's maintenance schedule included a battery coolant replacement interval every 4 years or 50,000 miles. Then Tesla quietly removed it. The current owner's manual implies the coolant lasts indefinitely. Independent shops and the fluid manufacturers disagree, and the stakes are higher than most owners realize. The science. Tesla's thermal management system is doing serious work. During rapid DC charging, it moves over 12 kilowatts of heat through the coolant loop. The G48 glycol-based fluid used in most pre-2024 Teslas carries a manufacturer specification of approximately 3 years before its corrosion inhibitor additives begin breaking down. Independent service shops generally recommend inspection around 120,000 miles. Degraded coolant doesn't cool less, not immediately, but it corrodes more. As the inhibitor package breaks down, the fluid becomes acidic relative to the aluminum and elastomer components it contacts.
This leads to micro-pit corrosion in the cooling channels over time, and reduced thermal transfer efficiency during exactly the moments your battery needs it most. Rapid charging and sustained high power output. 2026 coolant update. Important for mixed fleet owners. As of January 2026, Tesla's LC100, Clear Blue and G48 are confirmed interchangeable for compatible vehicles. However, mixing either of these with the older orange HTF-LS fluid found in some pre-2020 models is a warranty voiding risk and can cause inhibitor chemistry conflicts. If you're buying a used Tesla with an uncertain service history, this is worth verifying before any top-up. What you can do: pop the frontliner and locate the coolant reservoir with a flashlight. Clear Blue, healthy G48 or LC100. Orange Red, the newer formula. Murky, dark, or discolored, flag it at your next service visit. Do not open the reservoir yourself. Tesla's warranty explicitly excludes damage caused by improper coolant handling. Ask the service center to assess condition whenever you're already in for something else. You're not asking for an expensive procedure, just a visual and chemical check. Chapter 9, Chill Mode in Winter. For the right reason. The conventional explanation for why chill mode helps your battery is that gentler acceleration means less stress on the cells. It's repeated constantly. It's not really accurate, and because owners are given the wrong reason, they use the setting wrong. The science, the kinetic energy required to accelerate a given mass to 60 mph is fixed by physics. Whether you get there in 4 seconds or 8 seconds, you've moved the same mass to the same velocity. The energy demand is essentially equal. Chill mode doesn't meaningfully reduce the total energy drawn from the pack for acceleration. Where chill mode does make a real measurable difference is thermal efficiency in cold weather, and the mechanism is worth understanding. Your battery pack, sitting under the floor of the car, generates heat during discharge. In cold weather, that heat is a resource. Tesla's heat pump system can harvest thermal energy from the battery to warm the cabin. But here's the catch. In standard or sport mode, the thermal management system keeps the battery warm enough to deliver instant peak power on demand. It hoards battery heat for performance. In chill mode, the system doesn't need to maintain that performance-ready thermal buffer. It can transfer more of that thermal energy to the heat pump, which warms the cabin more efficiently. The result is reduced energy consumption for heating during your winter commute, without the performance you're probably not using on a Tuesday morning. For track day use, repeated full power launches do produce measurable logged wear. Tesla's systems record cumulative launch mode usage internally. Occasional highway merges are not a concern. Back-to-back launches at a drag strip, regularly, do add up. If you're at a track event, that's a conscious trade-off. If you're daily driving in New England in January, chill mode is doing real thermal work for you. Chapter 10, the 2-minute monthly system. 9 tips don't help you if you apply them once and forget. Battery health is a longitudinal game. The owners who reach 200,000 miles with healthy packs aren't doing anything extraordinary. They're doing small, consistent things and tracking them. Measurement turns intention into outcome. The 2026 monitoring stack. There are 3 levels, depending on how deep you want to go. Entry level, free. Teslafy runs on a Raspberry Pi, is open source, and provides Grafana dashboards for charge history, battery health trends, and vampire drain patterns. Crucially, it's built to let the car sleep immediately after data logging. It adds no meaningful additional drain. If you want something simpler, Tessie or Tesla Run both offer clean mobile interfaces for around $5/month, with no hardware required. Advanced level, Scan My Tesla with an OBD2 diagnostic adapter pulls individual cell group voltages directly from the BMS onto your phone screen. A healthy pack shows a cell group spread under 20 millivolts. A spread between 30 to 50 millivolts means cells have drifted, and the pack needs repeated full charges to rebalance. This is actionable data you cannot get from the stock interface. Display setting, switch your range display from miles to percentage. The miles estimate uses an EPA conversion formula that rarely matches real-world driving, and the anxiety it generates leads owners into compensatory charging behaviors, charging more frequently, charging higher, that actually damage the battery. Percentage gives you the actual electrochemical state of the pack with no editorial commentary. Your monthly 2-minute routine. Note your displayed percentage at your standard daily charge limit. Track this number month to month, not day to day. Daily fluctuations are noise. Monthly trends are signal. Check your Wattstunden-mile efficiency under consistent driving conditions. A creeping increase in energy consumption per mile is one of the earliest real-world indicators of capacity change. Review overnight drain. If drain spikes suddenly, something woke the car up. 9 times out of 10, it's a setting that reset after a software update. Sentry exclusions, summon standby, or a scheduling toggle. Quarterly, run the low charge sit plus full charge cycle from chapter 1 to maintain cell balance and give the BMS fresh data at both ends of the curve. Annually, run the formal battery health test for an official state of health percentage, time-stamped. This becomes your baseline. Year 3 compared to year 1 tells you exactly what trajectory you're on and whether any habits need adjusting. The system working together. Here's the big picture. Aggregated data across over 15,000 Teslas consistently shows the same pattern. 5 to 6% capacity loss in year 1 from initial cell settling. That's chemistry. It happens regardless. Then 1 to 2% per year after that, if you're doing this right. One researcher modeled this trajectory and projected it would take approximately 500,000 miles to reach the 80% capacity threshold, the point many consider functional end of life for the pack. The owners who get there aren't doing anything heroic. They're They're charging to 70% instead of 80%. They're using scheduled departure correctly. They're staying plugged in during hot weather. They're turning off Sentry at home. They're doing a 2-minute check once a month. The battery spends 95% of its life not moving. It's sitting in your garage, in a parking lot, at your office. The habits that protect it are almost entirely about what happens during that 95%, not the driving. Small, boring, consistent. That's what 500,000 miles looks like. If you want to take this further, I've put together a complete breakdown of Tesla's true ownership costs in 2026, including what maintenance actually costs at different mileage milestones, what your battery is worth at trade-in, and which third-party warranties are worth considering. That video is on screen now. See you there.